How's it going? Josh, how are you? How was your B class? For those of
B
you who
class
don't
was
know,
good.
Josh just took a B class.
Yes.
And by a B class, I don't mean like he got a B in a class. I mean like he now owns bees.
I I
And
I own a beehive,
sorry,
and on
yes, you don't own the
Saturday
bees.
Saturday I will own the bees. So, yeah. So that's new. That's new and
But yeah,
exciting. I'm going to
was
make
it fun and very informative?
I got to say it was very informative, but it was also very encouraging because I've been quite nervous about this. Um because I don't know the first thing about keeping bees. So I've been watching a lot, and I mean a lot, of YouTube videos. And when I was able to go to this class, they basically said all the same things that I've been learning. And so it was very, very encouraging because it was like, okay, good. This is a pretty standardized practice. These things are pretty standard. So I'm excited.
Well,
I'm
good.
excited.
I am glad. I feel like I have nothing against bees, especially the kind that live in, the hives that you would be keeping and such. Um,
Yeah.
Wasps can die a horrible death. I mean,
Yes,
like
they
I'm not
can.
allergic to bees, so I don't have
Fuck
any
those
problem
guys.
with them, but I don't know if I would actually be comfortable enough with bees to have my own hive.
Yeah.
Like,
So
because there
that's
is
that's my
definitely a
real.
big disparity between the one and the other.
Oh yes. That's my real ride or die moment, right? I mean, and I know it's going to be like too little, too late because the first time. Okay, so sorry, I know this is a little off topic, but in case you guys don't know, watch a video about introducing a package of bees to a hive for the first time. Okay, because you think in your head, in your brain, you think, okay, you get a queen, you throw the queen in the beehive, and she starts laying some eggs, and then the bees are like, "What up? I'm an egg. Now I'm a bee. Let's go do some shit. Let's do bee shit all day." No, no, that's so far from the truth. The truth is, you get a big ass box, and inside the big ass box are about 15 to 20,000 bees. And you've got to open the box, put your hand inside the box, grab the queen cage, and make sure that the queen is inside the beehive. And then you have to like drop the box, right, to get all the bees to like one side. And then you just basically pour them into the hive. It is the most terrifying thing to behold. And my
Are
do
these
or die
bees like
moment.
are they like chloroformed? Like
No, no,
are
no, no,
they
no. As a
are
matter of
they
fact,
alive and
this
happy
is,
and
oh yeah,
jump
this is,
freaking out?
this is the best part, Daniel. They are a swarm of bees who do not have a home and are very disoriented, discombobulated, and confused. So when you drop them, the only thing that's keeping them from attacking, I guess, is there's two factors. One is honeybees are not very aggressive. They can be if
Yeah,
they feel threatened, but they're not
sure.
actually aggressive. Um, the other thing is they've all been clumped together, right? So they're all like getting their legs and their wings untangled so they can start flying again. And it takes them a couple seconds. So the reason you kind of smack the box so that they all fall to one side is so that you can literally just dump them into a pile into the beehive. And then you let them sit for a couple of days, and then you have to go back and make sure the queen got out of the queen cage and has started doing her queenly duties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds nuts.
It's
And then
intense, man. It's intense.
the
It's
worst part about
intense.
all of this is that you have to make 100% sure Though when Jerry the Seinfeld the bee comes out of the beehive, he doesn't steal your wife from you, because that's such a
Mr. Steal
thing to
Your
worry
Girl.
about.
Mr. Steal Your Girl. You know what? I
Ugh.
have a love-hate relationship with the Bee Movie. It is such a bizarre concept. That is an acid-fueled movie if ever I've seen one. Ever.
Oh,
Like,
Jerry Seinfeld had an acid trip in high school.
he had to have. And he
And
was like,
he
you
has
know what?
had this
If I ever
movie
get
in
famous,
his brain.
I'm going to do a movie about a bee who steals your girl. Like he's all, I don't do a good Seinfeld.
I was
But
gonna say, I like Seinfeld from the Ghetto. Like,
well, I mean, Seinfeld from the Ghetto is technically the only Seinfeld who would steal your girl.
I don't know though. It's just regular Seinfeld. He's just also a bee.
I mean, maybe you're right. We'll figure this out at a later time. Hey, everybody!
Indeed,
Tonight's
there's actually an
topic
episode to do, isn't
has
there?
been brought to you by Honey and Jerry.
I feel like this part is just an additional pre-recording thing
It
for
could
all of the
be. It
people
very
listening
well could
live.
be.
I'm not sure I'm going to include all of this stuff in the episode.
Maybe it'll be a bonus.
We'll see.
You like
But
bonus? You say that
today,
better.
you may notice that Andrew is not on the podcast with us, which is totally fine. I don't know exactly what Andrew is going through right now.
I believe he's moving. I believe that was the big thing, because that was the other thing, is he said he might not be able to go this week because he's packing and moving. He's got his new Mr. Fancy Pants big job up in North Kakalaki. Cheers to Mr. Andrew, huh, Dubs? Yeah,
Indeed.
what's up? So he's moving on to bigger and better things. He's good. He's happy. He's awesome. And he's going to be working his new job. He will be back on the regularly scheduled program sometime in the near future. I believe he might even have to step out of next week's. I don't know that for
possible.
sure.
We'll have to see.
I'm going to have
It
my
might
eyes and
just
ears.
be Josh and I for the next few weeks, or at least, sorry, today and the next week. Hopefully not much past that.
Either way.
But get used to the dulcet sounds of my voice and the sonorous sounds of Josh's.
I am Gilbert Gottfried. Welcome to the Black Tower Podcast.
But when his tongue hit my clitoris...
That is one of the greatest, best YouTube videos ever. If you guys haven't seen it, Gilbert Gottfried narrates 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
and it's
College Humor did a little sketch of Gilbert Gottfried doing the reading of 50 Shades of Grey, and it is fantastic. In fact, the best part of it isn't even necessarily that Gilbert Gottfried's doing it. I mean, that's great. It's absolutely number two. But number one is the lines that they choose from the book. Because the lines are so ridiculous. Before I heard or saw the video, I was unaware of just how much.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
So garbage.
It's
the
a lot.
Writing on 50 Shades of Grey is, because like I knew the story. It came from a fanfic writer of Twilight, which is also a terrible piece of media. So when you're starting there and then just going to fanfic and then just going to like basically erotica, it is not good writing. It is objectively not good writing. Now, if you like the book, that is absolutely fine. I am absolutely in no way saying that you are not allowed to like 50 Shades of Grey, but it cannot be for the quality of the writing.
But
it is
you
not
also
allowed to be that, because it is objectively dog shit.
And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the Black Tower Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. No, speaking of, this is actually a good segue into our subject.
Yeah, it is.
Because Gilbert Gottfried, I hear, was cast to voice Machin Shin. Blood so sweet, strip the bones. Yeah, no, that's actually not a thing.
No,
I said
that's
that as a late
fantastic.
April Fool's, but that would be fantastic, and it would make Pedon Fane so much more terrifying.
It would.
Oh,
It
sorry, that was a spoiler.
really
Okay, you know what? We should get into spoilers. Actually, I don't think that was a spoiler.
It was
It was a
ish.
it was
But
a
I mean,
mild
this whole
spoiler.
episode is absolutely gonna be
There's gonna
spoilers. So
yeah, because you can't really because what we're talking about is what we're excited to see, what we hope to see in the TV series. I know we've talked about
no,
casting.
not what we hope to see. The things that
Well,
we're excited to see.
well, that's kind of one and the same when you think about it. Because if I say I'm excited to see Rand run Narg through, I've got an idea of how that scene is going to play out, and I'm hoping to see it play out in the way I would like to see it play out. If it doesn't play out in the way I like to see out, I become a salty internet troll and hire Russian bots to give it bad ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. So,
Yep. No. So, and then once that happens, I have to become a Russian hitman and come to your house and
oh
take
god.
you out.
Okay, I will say this one, and this one I will say unapologetically. If you don't like a movie, book, TV show, whatever, fine. Don't like it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, go on Rotten Tomatoes and leave a review and say, I
Yes.
didn't like it. And this is why I
Please do
didn't
it.
like it. That would be wonderful. That would be great. You are free to express how you feel about a piece of media. An artist putting their media out there is almost, I won't say they're asking for critique because they're not. They're presenting their work before you. And I would say they were subjecting it to your opinion because you're
Correct.
subjecting it to
That
everybody's
is how an
interpretation.
artist works or how art
Exactly.
works.
So if someone likes it, great. You as an artist are fulfilled. And actually, I would even say if someone hates it, me as an artist would still be fulfilled because guess what? I invoked emotional response in that person and I'm happy with that. Now, if you don't like the show and you proceed to shit talk the actors to the point where they leave social media and you proceed to bot negative reviews on review sites to drop its review because you don't like it, you are the worst of human scum and you should go die in a hole. I cannot stand this. I feel like Star Wars was hurt so much because they had such amazing story, amazing characters, really, really, really great things happening. Were there some substandard things that happened? Of course, absolutely. But guess what? That was consistent throughout the whole series, even the originals, guys. Sorry to break it to you. But if the same thing happens with the Wheel of Time TV series, I'm going to be so sad. I'm going to be so upset. And I can already kind of feel it because when I go to other chat um, forums, I guess you can say, you can already see people that are like, oh, I don't like that they cast Rosamund Pike. She's too tall. I'm not going to have fun with this. It's not going to be great. And it's like, I'm going to be so mad if they don't do this scene or that scene or those scenes. And it's like, guys, you are not the storyteller.
Yes.
If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great.
Well,
Don't
and again, this
ruin
is
it for other people, please.
this is one of the things that I will always say because Rotten Tomatoes, Yelp, Google reviews, all of these different things are meant specifically to have you put down your opinion. So please, absolutely, without a doubt, if you go to a place for food and it does not come out the way that you were expecting or anything like that, first of all, before you go review, decide whether you actually had uh realistic expectations for the thing that you were going to, because
Exactly.
if you went there expecting a 5-star restaurant and you went to a Popeyes, go fuck yourself. But if you went to a Popeyes and you have the expectation of it being a Popeyes and you've been to one before or something like that, then great, go leave a review as to how good they did, how bad they did, how in the middle, whatever. If you go on somewhere, whether it be Yelp or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, and you bot it to death,
Yeah.
that's not what it's for. That's not even the spirit
At all.
of what you're
At
using.
all.
Because again, it is for your opinion. Now, yes, I actually think that more people should use it, and I am saying that well knowing that I have not left a Yelp review on anything in a very long time. I've also never been on Rotten Tomatoes to leave a review.
Yeah.
But again, if we all just agree to go ahead and use this, then
Pro-
we can actually have
if we use it
relatively
properly.
accurate. Well, sorry, yes, indeed. That was the sort of implication as far
Right.
as
I
if
just
we
wanted to
all
specify.
agree to use it and we all use it correctly, then we actually do get a relatively good portrait of restaurants that really need to be closed because they're trash,
Right.
restaurants that really need to get more business because they're awesome,
Right.
movie theaters or movies that are, good and that people enjoy, movies that are bad and people don't enjoy, and
Yeah.
whatnot, things like that. And if we actually even do sort of another thing above that, and this is something that I will always be a proponent for, though again, I also don't know how difficult it would be. Um, is sort of categorizing those in the same way that like Netflix does, for example. Because when you go on Netflix, there's an algorithm that's for you,
Right.
and it takes all of the keywords for all of the shows that and movies that you've watched and that you've rated, and then it gives you a score on new things that you haven't seen yet that is going to be as accurate as it can find to you, which is why
Right.
you'll go on one person's account and it'll be like, yeah, this is a 97% match. And then on somebody else's account, it'll be like, this is a 4% match. And you're like, so is this good? And it's
Right.
like, it's
Right.
not about it being good. It's about it being you.
Exactly. And I will say, and along the lines of things being used properly, I will say this because I never ever 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 pass up an opportunity to say this out loud and publicly. If you are using Yelp, be sure to see all of the reviews of a business before making your final decision. Now, why do I say this? Well, my in-laws owned a rock shop. They would get they had, I want to say, like 3 or 4 reviews that were public that everybody saw that were 1-star ratings. And
Okay.
guess what? The rock shop's rating on Yelp was a 1-star rating. And the ratings were terrible customer service. Never go back here again. One of them was even a lady saying that they were selling Indian artifacts and that they should be shut down. And they were able to get that one removed because they weren't, and it's illegal to accuse someone of a crime in a public forum. Weird. And what they don't tell you are there are hidden reviews, and the rock shop had 40 or 50 5-star reviews. None of them were public, and none of them affected the excuse me, overall star rating of the rock shop. Why is this? Oh, because the rock shop hadn't purchased Yelp's premium client package, which comes with a free with an advertising package and a blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we unlocked the rest of your reviews.
Yep.
Now, we called Yelp and we said, "Oh, Yelp, you guys realize we've got like 40 reviews and they're not affecting our star rating at all." And they're like, "Oh yeah, those will remain hidden until you purchase our package." And we were like, "Well, then we want to opt out of your service." And they would not allow us to opt out. Now, there was a class action lawsuit against Yelp, and I don't know whatever happened with it, but to this day Yelp works the same way. And if you look a little bit closer, you'll find professional Yelpers that will leave bad reviews of restaurants maybe they've never even been to, and then
Oh,
the restaurant will
absolutely.
say, "Hey, come back. Let's give you a free meal and see if we can earn a 5-star review from you." And they come back, they get a free meal, they leave a 5-star review. Everybody's happy, right? Then the restaurant, their rating goes back up. It's
Yep.
a scam.
Yep.
So if you're going to use Yelp, that is your right as a person, as a reviewer, as a consumer, that's fine. However, just before you go, oh, that place sucks, it's got 1 star. Make sure you look at all their ratings, not just the public ones, because only the public ratings will affect the star rating of a company.
Correct.
So that's my side rant for the night.
No, that was great. I liked it.
Wheel of Time on Prime. Wheel
Indeed.
of Time.
So as we said before, I'm going to say 2 things. Number 1, this is definitely going to have spoilers for the entire series. I definitely know without a doubt that we are going to get into some Memory of Light stuff. So if you have not read the whole thing, you probably shouldn't listen to this. Though I will also say, if you're just excited for the show, and you don't really care about being spoiled, I don't think anything in this is going to be like crazy spoiler, but it definitely is going to include things that you might not know that much about based on how far you are in the books.
Yeah, there will be character associations. There will be
exactly.
Oh, hey, that guy is still alive at the end of the story.
For example, yes. So, the topic for this episode is going to be things that we're excited for the show. Now, again, this is actually going to include a lot of stuff. It actually goes a little bit hand in hand with we're trying to make this a multimedia experience. So a number of the polls and whatnot that we've had on the Black Tower Twitter
on the tweeters
have been sort of leading up to this in some ways. To get you guys excited about the show, to get us excited about the show, all of that different stuff. I know that it is on hiatus right now, and that it has been delayed because of all of the craziness, but it will come out at some point.
Actually, if I may interject, my good sir, the delay is only rumored, not confirmed. Mr. Rafe Judkins sent out a tweet that said that most of their filming was already in a pretty good place for season 1, and most of the work that they were doing was already in post-production, because there is a lot of post-production with channeling and special effects and whatnot. So the delay
Wait, they channel in the show?
The delay is rumored. It is still,
That's
it
fair.
remains to be seen. I believe the delay will come if they with reshoots. If they have to do any reshoots and they're unable to organize a reshoot, that's where we're going to get a lot of delays. So it'll really
also
come down to,
I think it'll also come down to season 2 as well. And of course it may actually be delayed regardless in post-production, because if people aren't actually in the Amazon studio location, I don't know if they actually have access to everything that they would need to go ahead and do it from home. So again, I am not hard confirming any delay. Let me be very clear.
Yeah, that would be a bad idea.
The likelihood is that it will probably be delayed. Probably not that long, and probably not that much, but more than it was going to be originally. Or at the very least, again, season 2 will be delayed.
Right. There is still a very good possibility of delays. Please don't let me get your hopes up too.
But as stated, it is just a rumor. You are absolutely correct with your interjection there. But yeah, so this is definitely about the most exciting scenes, props, costumes, mostly other like visual things, because I think that was mostly what we were going to be talking about, or scenes with really cool action sequences and stuff. So yeah,
I'm hyping you. Go.
Yeah, no, I
do it. Don't let me interrupt you.
I like.
Just
my
keep
hype,
going.
Man.
Don't let me interrupt you.
I feel so interrupted.
Don't let me interrupt. Yes, no. So as you guys have known, if you've checked us out on Twitter, which you should have, if you have not yet checked us out on Twitter, you should. But the cool thing is we have run a couple of polls. I'm actually trying to pull it over real quick to see what was one of the ones we sent out. We'll talk about the first one first, which I believe was
Let's start at the very
weaponry.
beginning. A very
Weaponry.
good place to start. When you read, you begin with
A. The left? I've never heard
B
that song.
A B C.
Oh, okay.
You have
That
absolutely
one.
heard this song. Maybe you don't go ahead
Oh,
and know it from the
no.
beginning, but
Oh,
doe, a
no.
deer, a female deer, Ray, a
Oh,
drop
no.
of golden. It's from Sound of.
So,
I will come down there and slap you.
please do.
I will
Then
come
we can have some
through the
drinks.
mic.
So we threw out a poll. The first one we threw out is indeed weaponry. Now I had threw out 4 options because they were the first word that came to my head. I am both surprised and both not surprised because I threw out 3 that I thought would be. I threw out 2 that I thought would be contenders, one that I
Okay.
thought would be a good, well-rounded choice, and then one that I thought would be completely stymied. And I was almost dead on. Okay, so the 4 options were the Heron Mark Blade, the Shanchan Spear, the Ashendare, and Mahalanir. Now, I was surprised that the Ashendare won. I thought Mahalanir would have gotten it, but Ashendare won, and Ashendare won big time. It was like over 53% of the votes. Like the folks at home are super excited to see Matt wielding Ashendare. And I don't blame them. I'm right there. I'm like, boom, my heart bleeds, spear point. I love it. My personal
It
favorite.
bleeds spear point.
Well, it bleeds when the spears go through it.
Yeah,
The
I
one
mean,
that,
most people have that happen.
well, I mean, except for a gray man.
Or a
or
golem.
or a golem. So the next thing we're going to go is second place was the Heron Mark Blade. Again, a bit of a surprise because I love the Heron Mark Blade. I own one of the officially licensed Heron Mark Blades from Museum Replicas, which I believe you can no longer get
Correct.
because of the trademark was taken over, and it was a very difficult time in the Wheel of Time community when that happened, but it's the way things go. It's the
This
way
is
of
the way.
things. This is the way. So the Heron Mark Blade was second place, and that was cool. That was great. Mahalanir came in at third, and I was a little surprised because that was kind of mine. That was where I thought we were going to go. Because that's one of my favorite scenes in the entire book series. The forging of Mahalanir is, oh, that is pure sex on paper right there. Like that whole scene, absolutely amazing.
It is a pretty amazing scene.
And then the one that I thought would totally be stymied, the one I'm not surprised by at all, is the Sanchin Spear. Nobody wants that.
You
I
mean the
get it.
dragon
It's a
scepter?
spear. Well, I did say Sanchin Spear. I did not specify Dragon Scepter, which I
Ooh,
suppose
ooh, you
I could
liar.
have.
You
But
absolute you see, this is you're one of those people who makes the SAT questions that are specifically worded in ways that help you get it wrong.
yeah, I think so. I feel like, well, and see the thing was is I kind of was getting some scepter vibes there, but I kind of wanted to go, you know what? If you've seen a Shanchan spear, all you have to do is take like the first 18 inches, and there you got the dragon scepter. Oh, and carve some dragons into the handle. Like, I know they're gonna make it look awesome. They're gonna make it look badass. They will. But I was really kind of just going, okay, let's keep it kind of generic, and that was kind of my mistake because Heron Mark Blade is more generic, but it's a little bit more specified too because we know that Rand wields a Heron Mark Blade for the bulk of the series. And then of course Ashendare and Mahalanir are both power
I
rot weapons.
mean, that's not true. He doesn't actually go ahead and wield the Heron Mark blade for most of the story. He wields it for a little bit at the beginning.
And then he
And
has
then he
well,
wields
he
a
has
fire
another,
sword for a little bit.
and then he has another heron mark blade that he carries with him.
And then after that, he just balefires everything.
Well, I mean, balefire all the things is actually a pretty good strategy.
No. Let me be very clear. I think Rand has it right. Just if you're going to be the only one wielding balefire, because you're just the one who's decided that the truce on balefire is over, just balefire everything. If it's bad, balefire it.
Right.
Maybe not an entire city, but definitely all of the Forsaken. Just balefire them. But at the same time,
Yeah. No, balefire all the
it
things.
is his go-to afterwards. It's definitely
Well,
Heron Mark, then lightsaber, then
yeah.
balefire.
And I love when he first kind of discovers balefire, you know. Moraine's like, "Okay, look, you can't do that cuz it's really bad. But you probably did a really good thing because that was the only way to kill the Dark Hounds. It's a good job, but don't do it again." And then he's like, "Oh, cool. Okay, balefire. It's a good thing, but I'm not supposed to do it. Oh, I'm a Two Rivers guy and I'm super stubborn. And when someone says, don't do that, I'm gonna fucking do it." So then, like, really, you know, I can see why it becomes his go to weave of choice. And
Well, and especially again, one of the biggest reasons is that she's like, ugh, don't use balefire, but it also worked so well. And then he like faces a Forsaken and she balefires it. And then he's like, okay, first of all, do as I
listen
say, not as
here.
I do. And second of all, wait, does that work on the Forsaken? Because if that just works on the
Oh,
Forsaken every time, then I'm just gonna balefire
who
every
cares if
time,
they get wiped out?
right?
Yeah, that was
Also,
good.
let me just say the meme where Jason from The Good Place and Tahani are standing next to each other, and Jason says, "Yeah, every time I had a problem, I would just throw a Molotov cocktail at it,
Yeah.
and then I just had a different problem." And somebody changed it to balefire it was brilliant
And then they
because
just
it
had a
was
different problem.
absolutely
Oh
so
my
true.
god. I love Jason too. He's the best thing about that show. Kristen Bell, I am deeply in love with as well. She is a
Oh yeah,
wonderful person as well as an actress.
correct.
But he's what
Her
made that
and her
show, man.
husband are
Oh yeah.
amazing. Kristen and Dax.
Kristen. Dude,
Woof,
they're
they're
like the
so
power
good.
couple from the best of humanity. I love those guys. Kristen, Dax, I thank you so much for listening to the show. We love
I know
you.
you're big listeners.
Huge
Every
listeners
week.
every
Well,
week.
Dax listens every week. Kristen, she comes in when she
Well,
can.
she's
She's very busy.
busy. She's very busy. And that's cool, and that's okay. And we understand your busy schedule. Watch this. One of these days, we're gonna say that, and they're gonna like comment and be like, "How'd you guys know I was listening?" Shit, we're gonna get you.
No, the best
You
part
secret
is
celebrity listeners. We're going to get you.
no, the best part is I can guarantee that right now we don't have any secret celebrity listeners, but what I'm looking forward to is that once the show starts,
Mm, mm, mm.
then we're gonna get comments later on in our like DMs on Twitter or like things like that, or somebody will join our Discord and they'll like private message you or me or Andrew or something, and they'll be like, "So in this episode, I just got to this episode and it made me really laugh that now I'm listening to it." And you were like, "Hey, hi."
So, are you saying we should just do like a spread shot, just like a shot, just once a week, just like call out an actor and be like, "Hey, thanks for listening to the show. We appreciate
When
it."
it's appropriate, yes, but I feel like we should make it appropriate.
Okay, let's. I agree. You know, there needs to be context in all things.
Yeah,
So we're good.
because
So
just being like, "Hey, so this person, I know you listen," like, no, that's just weird.
that is weird. I agree. So we had for this, which weapon was your choice? Would have been your choice, Daniel? What weapon are you most excited to see in the TV series? Is it on the list? Why not? Discuss.
So sorry. The question is, out of all of them, and we are not. Sorry, you
Well,
just basically
out of the
answered
ones
the question.
mentioned in the I said out of the ones mentioned in this poll, or is it not listed in the poll? Is it another weapon entirely that you're excited to see?
Gotcha. So to be completely honest, the weapon that I am most excited to see is uh Land's weapon,
Ooh,
because it actually gets used so often so well that, like, again, later on in the series, I am definitely excited to see Rand go to town on somebody with a Heron Mark blade and things like that. That's dope.
right.
The Parent's Hammer comes in so late in the game that it is amazing, and I'm not trying to take anything away from it.
No,
But
I
it
feel that.
definitely didn't like start with me in the series.
I feel that.
Um, and but Land's sword, which is also a Heron Mark blade,
Okay.
or sorry, a power rot blade, not a.
Well,
It doesn't have a heron on it.
it's
It's a
got the
power rot
same
blade.
shape of, if I understand correctly from the descriptions, it's got the same shape of a heron mark. It's slightly curved and edged and blah blah blah
Yes,
blah blah, but it does not
but it
bear
doesn't
a
actually
heron.
have the herons on it. But it is a power
But it is
rot
power
blade,
rot.
and again,
Got
I
it.
think that just that weapon, and in Daniel Henney, I mean Land Mandragoran's
Oh
hands,
my god.
is going to be so epic.
Dude,
So that is the one that I'm actually the most excited for.
did you see Daniel Henney's Instagram post where he was gripping a sword?
Yes, I did.
Oh, bro, that gave me like hot flashes. I am so excited. Like
Right,
heavy breathing, like the whole 9 yards, dude. I am so excited for him to draw his blade for the first time
right.
and just decimate a row of Trollocs. Like I am
It's gonna
so
be so
excited.
good.
It's gonna be
Uh,
so good.
and so that's probably the one that I'm the most excited for. But I will admit that part of that comes from who's actually using it and the scenes that it's going to be in.
Yes.
If we're actually just talking about straight up weapon, I will absolutely say that Rand's lightsaber, his flame sword, is the one that I'm actually the most excited to see, because again, it really has kind of the best of both worlds between being channeling just in general, or
Right.
um and Rand's Heron Mark blade, because it's got so much history, and it's that blade just made of fire. And
Yeah.
so I'm just, that one's probably the most exciting thing that I'm on for. So I would, as far as the poll is concerned, it's sort of on there because the Heron
Right.
Mark blade is on there, but just that version of it. What about you?
Right. So so again, I will say Mahalanir because I do love the drop. I do love um the callbacks to Mjolnir. I do love that Robert Jordan, or I guess it was wielded late enough in the game. Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson together. I do love how they kind of
You mean Robert
pull.
Jordan through Brandon Sanderson?
Yes,
You know
Brandon
that
Sanderson
wasn't
was
actually
channeling.
Brandon. Yes.
He was channeling the one power which we all know as Robert Jordan, and he put that down. I love the callback to Mjolnir and Thor.
Mhm.
Um, I also love the Ashendare. Those are, but I also love the
I'm
Heron Mark
still
blade.
worthy.
It's a
Okay,
it's
you
a it's a
can't just choose
trio of
all of them.
loves.
It's
I know.
not
Well, if
okay.
I had to say one, if I had to pick one, if I was
So
forced to
Mashandara
pick one, it would be Mahalanir. That would
or
be,
Mahalanir, sorry.
yeah, that would be the Mashadar. Yes, I would love that one. No,
No, I
that would be
just
the one.
combined both of them. I said Mashandari for some reason.
Mashandare. Is that
It's
a
just
is that
it's a
a
quarterstaff
spear? Is a
with a
quarterstaff with a hammerhead
hammer
on top
hammerhead. No, it's actually just there's a hammerhead on one side, and then there's
and
a
a blade on the other?
naginata blade on the other.
Oh, dude, that would be so sweet. You just
It's
imagine Matt and
completely
Perrin doing the fusion
unwieldable.
dance.
It's completely unwieldable because
Not
it's
it.
so heavy on one side, and you can't just wield it on that side because you'd stab yourself.
Not if Matt and Perrin fuse. if they fuse, they can wield the Mashandarai.
Fusion. Ha!
Exactly. No, but
Oh man,
one of
I
the other
really
things
want to
that was
see Perrin doing the weight training in the
yeah.
this not stasis chamber, the gravity chamber. What's it called?
I don't know. I
Oh
can't
man,
remember.
I
It's
don't
been so
remember.
long since I've
It
watched
has
Dragon
been
Ball
so
Z.
long.
One thing, and this was actually just brought up in our Discord, which, by the way, for all of those of you who do not know, who are unaware, we are doing our live recording on Discord, open to everyone during the
Indeed.
quarantine. So if you guys are sitting around bored, when you normally do this on a Wednesday night, and it normally conflicts with the Dusty Wheel, and we love those guys. Those guys are great. So we're trying to figure out a way to make it so that we can all enjoy all the things that we love. But for now, we're doing it when we can, and we are open to the public. You guys are more than welcome to listen in our Discord. And after the quarantine is lifted, everything like that, we go back to business as usual. It is a benefit to our Patreons. So you can hop on our Patreon, take a look there, and see if there's something you'd like to do. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the show running, we would be most appreciative. But something that was just brought up in our Discord chat while recording this is the Two Rivers bow. And I gotta say, I've got some feelings on this, and I would like to discuss them because I would love. I genuinely cannot wait to see the vast array of Manetherian weapons that are hidden away in closets. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be wonderful. But the fact that the Two Rivers, they specialize in longbow and quarterstaff, like it's so well written. It's such a small town thing, right? Once a year at festival, we go up and we have the quarterstaff competition and the archery competition. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. But what I was going to say is I hope the Two Rivers longbow, I hope it's just a bow. I hope there's nothing flowery or ornate about it. I hope it's just a really well made bow. And I hope, see, this is what I was talking about at the beginning, hope and expectation. I hope that someone at some point in time during the series looks at a Two Rivers man and was like, what are you going to do with that piece of crap? That's a stick with a string on it. And then I hope this guy goes, really? Stick with a string? Hey, point out a target. And the guy's going to go, that tree over there. No, 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 farther away. Well, that tree over there. No, 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 farther away. Okay, the squirrel on the tree 200 yards away. Yeah, okay. Boom. And the dude headshots it. Like, that's what I want to see. That I want to see when it comes to like the Two Rivers weaponry, I don't want to see the weapons being like all super ornate because it's a small town. They're farmers. They're sheep
Yeah, I
herders.
don't
When
think
they
it will
keep
be.
them, I know.
And
But I hope
no,
that
and
this
I
happens.
think that that's the right. I think
I
that
hope
that
they
will be the
illustrate
right
this.
call.
I hope they illustrate the skill over the ornateness of the weapon.
Yes. No, I think that is that is the way.
I agree. I'm super excited about that. But is there anything else to cover on weaponry? Is there any other weapons that you're just like fiending to see? Is there any weapons that you're like, I hope they remove them from the show? I mean, like I'm excited to see the Bastila. I'm excited to see the dragons, but as you said with Malinir, those are kind of late in the series.
Yeah, I mean, like again, um I don't think there's anything that I would take out. I don't think that there's anything that's not fun. Now granted, I mean like they don't necessarily need to go as far um into certain ones, but I definitely think there are that none of them should be removed.
Right.
Also, as was also stated on our Discord, and one thing that I've thought about is again, this isn't necessarily the weapon itself, as you said,
Right.
but Tom, Min, Fail, Matt, all of their knife skills.
Oh,
Those are I'm very excited for those.
they better
Uh,
have. They better have. What was the dude's name from Forged in Fire?
oh, I don't know. I don't watch that show.
dude, it's actually really good. It's like all the cooking competitions where they eliminate someone.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
this
it's
one's
for
blacksmith.
blacksmithing.
And they've got one of the judges is a knife expert, a knife
Hmm.
and knife combat expert. Doug Marcaida. I
But is
hope
it
they
the
have
sword experience?
I hope it's not the sword experience. It's not. But I hope they have Doug Marcaida as like the knife expert,
That would be
helping with
amazing.
knife training on the show. That would be fantastic.
Yep. So cool. So one of the other things that was mentioned, which is a good segue, is Calendor, because that
Yes.
was actually on another of our polls,
Yes,
but
it
it's
was.
not really classified, at least by us, as
As a
as a
weapon.
weapon.
It's not
It's
a
definitely
physical
a
weapon.
well, I mean, it is, but it's
It,
more a power. It's more an angrial or sangrial than
Sangreal.
just a weapon because
Yes.
they don't run around like stabbing things with it, really.
Right. So the next poll that we got into was objects of the power. Um Now there are tons of them. There
There
just
really
are.
are.
There are so many objects of the power in this TV series. So again, you know, itemizing it down and picking just 4 was a bit of a challenge, but I picked the 4 that I felt were the most
I feel
iconic.
like you did a pretty good job.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And so we start off with Kalendor, which is classic. I mean, that's the Arthurian tie-in, right?
Classic.
Classic. And so it's the sword that is not the sword. And he who pulls Kalendor from the air is the Dragon Reborn. And so it's a very, very
Wait,
important
does he pull it out of the air in the stone?
in yes. And then
Is he
later
removing it from the
n-
stone?
and then later Narishma pulls it out of the stone in the stone. Uh-huh.
Oh shit. Wait, does
Oh,
that mean that Narishma is Arthur and that
no.
Rand is Merlin?
Oh shit. I think that would depend greatly on what Narishma does after Tarman Gaidon.
Oh, well, so he actually sets up an elite group of Ashaman.
Really? They
And they
sit
sit
around a
in the
round
black
table?
tower at a trapezoidal tower
A trapezoid.
or at a trapezoidal table. And they run around just making sure that everyone's living up to a code.
I love it.
And that code is the Ashaman's code, and it has a lot of stuff about combat, a
I love
little
it.
bit about how to treat women, and a very, very small amount on what to do when you want to go ahead and make an alliance with another nation.
And a small clause that says don't balefire anything unless you absolutely have to. So the next
Don't
item,
balefire anything unless you are Randolph.
unless you are Rand. And the next item on there was the keys of the Choden Call. Now I did specify keys,
Not the Choden call themselves.
not the Choden Call themselves, because the Choden Call,
The
those are
keys.
really cool too, and I'm excited to see those. But we have more interaction with the keys themselves. They seem to
Truth.
be a bigger icon or focal point that leads to this, which is why they're keys to the most powerful sangreal ever made. So I put that on there, and then I went big with this one. And the next one were the glass columns in Ruidion.
Mm-hmm.
And I like these because it's probably the most mysterious, along with the 3 rings and the White Tower, which I did not put on this list because I kind of felt like I wanted to do one sort of visionary vision quest kind of a thing, and I thought I'd pick the one that everybody could go into. I don't know. It was weird. And then the final one was the Corsuvra, which is fun to say. And that's why I got in there. Now I
You know
did
what?
not.
You know what's more fun than saying Korsruva?
What's more fun than saying
Stroking Korsuvas.
Stroking
And just have somebody shiver on the other side of the world.
I feel like I feel like Korsuvra is like a heavy metal band. Like that's their, like
I
the chorus.
farted and it smelled like fart.
Korsuvra. I feel like that's like the chorus, like the word that they scream. Korsuvra. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, I like it. I think that it actually does sound like a metal band as well.
So
It
in
sounds like a really nerdy metal band.
it would have to be
Yeah.
because I don't know of too many metal bands that read high fantasy. Maybe they do. Maybe a lot of them do, and I'm just ignorant.
I mean, to be fair, it is funny to see all of the pictures and the stories and whatnot of the metal band members that run around doing like completely normal things or like the like super like community outreach things or things like that
Yeah.
um when they're not on stage, but then like they turn into just like devil worship crazy people on stage, and like that's not even really who they are, but it is a
Right.
little bit of still like
It's
uh
yeah.
the like metal lifestyle, even though it's
Yeah.
not, it still is. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. So in the poll we had 4 items which I just listed off. Now, it was a close one. Okay? The Ruidian glass columns won, but barely. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They got 39.2% of the votes. Kalendor was right behind it in second place with exactly 1% less at 38.2. Now, I'm not too surprised by this because, like I said, Ruidion is probably one of the most poignant places in the story. It's so big. It's just a lot to unpack. And what they find in Ruidion and what they do in Ruidion and why this city is, it's just such a big focal point that's been abandoned.
Yep.
It's for 2,000 years the largest cache of Angreal, Sangreal, and Terangreal have just been rotting, essentially. And the Aiel are like, oh yeah, that place we send clan chiefs to. You want to
Well,
go
to be
there? You
fair,
can't.
I mean,
You
like,
can't go there.
again, at the time that the clouds over Ruidion are
Yes,
undone, it has been many years of there just being this fog over
that's been
Ruidion. And so
protected.
people don't
Yes,
even know. They're like, oh, we don't go to that scary place. That's where clan chiefs go to be clan chiefs.
yes.
And
Well,
wise
and
ones
that's
go to
that
become
only even
wise ones.
happened. That only even happened because, as we saw in Rand's visions, that one of his ancestors went with Aes Sedai, I think, or one of the Genaiel, one of the traveling people, before they
Yeah.
had made their big separation, or rather, before they had forgotten their connection. See, this is the big spoilers that you guys need to be avoiding. But they ended up going in there, and it sort of establishes a precedence. Like, if you're going to be a clan chief, you A, have to know the truth, and B, you have to be brave enough to enter the unknown, and C, you have to be strong enough to come back from it. So it,
Yes.
it actually served as a pretty good test and measure, and they used it, very well
Yeah,
for
no,
many, many years.
I completely agree, but it also does mean that, like ye old IEL 7
Oh
is
yeah,
not just going to go, oh, that foggy place that's I can't see anything inside of. Well, let me just
yep,
run in there and see what's going on. Like,
yep.
no. You go if you're like I want to be a clan chief, and then the wise ones get together and they're like, you may try, and then they're like, and then you're like, cool, and then you run in, and then some of them just scratch their own eyes out and disappear, and some of them come out on the other side being even more badass, like Ruark.
Yep, like Ruark. Oh god, I love Ruark. He is so cool.
Dude, Ruark is so cool.
He's one of the baddest of asses. So Ruidian glass columns, they're awesome. They've got a sort of a genetic component, very, very mysterious. Oh god, it's so cool.
Basically, it is a
It's an Ogier
an
grove.
animus.
Ooh, I like that better.
It's an animus Ogier Grove.
I love it. That's so let it be written, so let it be done.
Oh my god, wait.
I'm throwing it back, son.
I just in my brain hole. After they make a couple of really awesome in the world of the Wheel of Time video games, if they
Oh,
just do Assassin's Creed Age of Legends,
dude.
I know they wouldn't. And I mean, like, again, the problem is part of the problem here is that they threw out the Animus after game
Oh,
3.
yeah.
But,
Bro.
oh man, that would be
Oh, perfect
amazeballs.
crossover. Perfect crossover. It can't even I mean, perfect
Assassin's
crossover.
Creed
Well done.
glass columns.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Wait,
So
Assassin's Creed Crystal Forest.
I love it. I'm doing it. I hope they make it. I do. So coming in second place was Kalendor, which we talked a little bit about up until this point, and I do have sort of a something I want to see with Kalendor in the TV show. So again, kind of talking about what I hopes and dreams and things like that. Hopes and dreams and butterfly wings, sure, why not? So Kalendor, as we all know, it's the sword that is not a sword. It's made of glass, but it's not glass. But it's sharp like steel, but it's glass, but it's not glass, and it can maintain control of the just
It's actually a ceramic
insane.
knife. It's better than normal steel knives because they can get sharper and they stay sharper longer. And then it's better for the
Yes.
environment because once, like, it
It's
doesn't
got,
use any
it's got a
alloys.
lower carbon footprint. So one thing I want to see, okay, is after the sword is pulled, maybe it's Rand, maybe it's someone else. Don't know, don't care. Maybe someone even like pulls it out of Rand's hands, like, check it out, it's Kalendor. I'd like to take a look at it. Maybe Wyramon. This would be a great scene for Wyramon. I want someone to run their thumb down the edge of Kalendor and cut themselves. Like bad. Like more than a normal sword would ever do. And I want them to be like, but it's not a sword. But how did it do that? Like I just want people to be in awe of this object because it's the center of so much lore and so much prophecy, and it's been hidden from view for a very very long time. So the
You
only
know what
people that
else
have
it's
even
the
seen
center
it
of?
are like the High Lords.
Yeah,
What
it's
else?
not just the center of so much lore. It's also the center of all of the High Lords when they meet
Hey,
in
you
the
go, boy.
in
In the
the heart
stone.
of the stone.
The heart of the stone. But Kalendor is a good one. Whew, that's gonna be a tough one to do well, I think.
It is.
Um, I
I trust
believe,
them because I think
yeah.
that they are, again, being very I don't remember what I had a word. Dude, they're
Words are
being very
hard.
intelligent about the way that they're doing it, and also I definitely think that there are enough nerds on the production team that
Yes.
have some ideas
Well,
of how to actually do it well.
and I think that they've done a really great job of engaging with the fan base. I really do. They have done an amazing job of engaging with the fans on different social media platforms. And I mean, I know I say this out of like, my own personal ego, but I really do get a good feel that they're doing a really great job of people who are either already fans of the book or who have enough respect and love for stories like this that they can recognize the passion that people have. I mean, when for all of you who are on Twitter, when there was one of the people who found actor profiles, and we just talk about sometimes what actors we'd like to see, and someone found Daniel Malik, who he's in The Expanse, and he is they found a couple pictures of him where he was dressed up and he's looking very dapper and debonair, and they put it next to a picture of description of Mazrim Taim, and it was bang on. It was scary, and it was like, holy shit, this guy's Mazrim Taim. We need him, and so the hashtag Malik for Mazrim was born because I guess we got so many tags and so much attention on this hashtag that he jumped in and was like, holy crap, guys, what is happening right now?
Well, and apparently he's actually someone who has read the books and was
Yes.
like, I'd be so down. Like, again, I don't have any power over this, but if you guys are excited about this and I want the job,
exactly,
this should just happen.
Yeah. And so I don't know that he's been, contacted or whatnot. Obviously, they've been very, very tight-lipped on the whole thing. I think they're building suspense. I really do. But they have engaged with with the fans, and I really feel like they're going to do a really good job with it. I have a lot of confidence in this.
And
So
as stated, it
Calendar is
was
gonna be
also
awesome.
really interesting that I mean, let me be clear, I do know that it was a PR stunt. Like I'm not stupid enough to actually think that they just like discovered this or anything like that. But whether or not they did it before or after they got the parts,
Right.
and maybe it's fake. Again, I don't think it is. All of them seem like relatively genuine people. But all of the cast were running around, with their copies of The Eye of
Yes.
the World.
Yep.
And a number of them looked like they were relatively new, and a number of them looked like they were relatively tattered. And as I said, I get that it was, a PR thing that they were doing. It was not just out of nowhere. But at the same time, I do actually think that, again, if these people know what they're doing as actors, and these people know these books, I think that it's a really, really good start to go ahead and do, the right thing for the show.
Well, and I think even if you get a job as an actor on the show, first off, you have to read the books. You can't not read the books. That's just not a thing. You have to. And
It
there's
is, though.
no way you can read 15 of the most well-written, in-depth stories that exist and not feel some sort of investment emotionally toward the end. So
I mean, that's true.
so even if you hate the books, if you make it through all the way to the end, you can at least be like, I did it, and you feel that sort of ownership of the series, and it kind of gives you a sense of, I don't know, ownership is probably the wrong word because we don't own it. We're just, a part in the story, and I don't know. So Calendor's a big one. Calendor has a twist at the end, which we don't necessarily have to get into.
Yeah, definitely don't
quite spoilery. But Calendor's great. It's wonderful. The Choden Call keys. Pretty nondescript. I imagine we're going to see a lot of these in merch. A statue of a man, a statue of a woman, loosely clad in robes, holding aloft a crystal. My guess is it's going to be somewhat reminiscent of like a Statue of Liberty kind of a thing.
It could be.
I would even love to see a Statue of Liberty callback from Planet of the Apes, with when the Choden Call has got his hands sticking out and they're down in I want to say Tyr or Ilion, where they're excavating, trying to figure out.
They're not either of those.
Which place was it? Was it Mirendi?
No, it's over by Kyrian. Sorry, you said Kyrian. No, you didn't. No,
I said no.
Kyrian is
anyway at the place
near
where
Kyrian,
the statue is sticking out
because they find it when they are, or Rand first comes across it when he is traveling with or when he has been
Ingtar.
separated from the group with no frack, what is the
I thought it was in the Great
Thief
Hunt.
Takers.
Yeah,
it is in the Great Hunt. The Thief Taker's name,
Julian.
not Ingtar.
Well,
it's not Julian. Are you okay?
I'm not okay. Hold on, just one. I'm pulling it over right now.
Hurin. Thank you.
Hurin.
Hurin.
Yes.
So it's Hurin and Loyal. And they travel with they go through the portal stone, and when they come back into the
That's
world that they are
right.
from, they uh they see the statue being excavated, and Rand actually like starts walking over to it like he's in this weird trance.
Well, because and it's one of the reasons why they created the keys, because it's such a powerful sangreal. It's
Yeah.
damn near impossible to resist the draw and pull, especially with Saidin, which is described as a constant fight for your life.
Yep. I'm fighting for my life here.
I'm fighting for my life here. So yeah, the Choden Call, I'm not
Oh
surprised
my
that they didn't do
god.
well in the poll.
Oh, somebody needs to do that. Somebody needs to make a meme of fucking R. Kelly as or Rand as R. Kelly.
So put
Just
Rand's
every
face
time, yeah,
on
every
R.
time
Kelly's
he
body.
grabs onto Sidene.
Yeah, I'm fighting for my life here.
Wouldn't that be
Anyway,
great if
sorry.
they actually just changed the
Hi.
sex of one of the Choden calls, and one of them's Patrick Stewart and the other one's Ian McKellen?
Dude. Or I got one better. I got one better. You ready?
You always
Kristen
have to one
Bell
up me.
and Dak Shepard. Done and done. Power couple, also modeled after the most powerful sangreal. Done and done.
Okay, I was trying to be progressive.
Yeah, well, fuck your progressiveness. This time. Normally you're pretty good about it, but this time. I want Kristen and Dak to be a part of this, okay?
All right, that's fine. Jesus. Why can't Kristen just be like more gays or something?
I don't know. Because I love Kristen. I don't want her to be messed up by Robin. Come on.
But she's so strong, though.
She is so strong. I will give her
that. Holy forking shirt balls. Just let her be more gays.
Shirt. That's what we should have an episode where we curse like the Good Place. I don't think we could do it. I think we could do it.
I think we could do it. It would be a slower episode.
We'd be like Uno, though. We'd be like counting our words.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Making sure that we could say fuck right now. But now I have to go 3 sentences
fuck
without saying. So, and then the final object of the power was the Corsouvra. And the Corsouvra got 4th place in our poll. Which is not surprising because, again, it didn't play a huge role in the series. It was kind of a nasty object that they didn't really like to talk about. They didn't really like to associate with. They didn't really like to, really like to mess with it. And only, like, Moradin was the only one who was like, hell yeah, give me that Corsouvra. I'm all about this shit. I don't care. He's the ultimate nihilist. He doesn't care. So long as the objectives are met, he doesn't.
As long as the objective of me getting dead happens,
good,
don't care about anything
good
else.
And permanently dead.
Dude,
that guy was messed up, man. But we'll talk about him in another episode, man. We could do a whole,
and we probably will,
series of episodes, and we probably will. But
I mean, when I get the part, then we'll definitely need to go ahead and do an episode.
He's an embodiment of. I will say this really quick about him. Bruce Lee was once quoted as saying that you must take the most direct path in a combat situation. If a man decides he's going to bite your nose off, you can punch him, you can kick him, you can break his arms, you can do whatever you want, but he's gonna bite your nose off. Because he is driven to do so. That is his goal. That is his one goal, and he will accomplish that goal. Moradin is that man. Or if you want to get a taste of Evander Holyfield's ear, you're going to do it. But the thing is,
sometimes in the ring, things just happen. This is Mike Tyson from Encyclopedia Britannica.
But Moradin is that guy. He's that dude, and it makes for kind of an unlikely but very compelling bad guy.
Oh yeah. No,
So
honestly,
so
it's
yeah,
actually a little bit crazy how I mean, like, the Forsaken overall are just really good bad guys, if you will, again, because one of the things that is, in my humble opinion, one of the things that makes the best bad guys is you don't agree with their methods. That's what
right.
makes them a villain, but you absolutely agree with their motivations. And the
In
Forsaken
some
are
cases,
just so well, but sorry, that's what that's what to me makes a good villain. If I don't think their motivations sound real, or and sorry, I shouldn't necessarily say agree with. I mean that they're realistic. That you can agree with
I can
them
see that.
as far as being real, not I would have those motivations, especially when it's, a character that is so far from your own experiences, then you're like, yeah, I cannot relate to your situation at all. But it's very realistic that you would have that goal after that experience. And
I can see
when
that.
they're like just so off the mark, like again, it's one of the reasons that Joker is such a compelling bad guy in
I
every Batman story.
I will say along that particular line, I was pleasantly surprised with the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. I was very against the idea of having a Joker backstory because Joker is one of those characters who doesn't have a backstory. He came out of nowhere and he just
Yes.
tore it up and it was great. But I was pleasantly surprised with that movie. And I agree 100% with what you're saying about a villain must have some element of relatability. You've got to be able to relate to him somehow.
Yes. And if they're just
So
so off the mark and you can't agree with anything they're doing, agree with anything they're doing,
yeah,
then
exactly.
it's not
Or
it's not fun.
if you can't even see why they're doing that,
Yes.
come on, get out of here, stupid. So objects of the power. Are there any other objects of the power that you're with? I'm actually quite fond of objects of the power in the story. I am a huge fan of how there's sort of this safety fence around objects of the power. When the Aes Sedai refuse to let people explore them, they refuse to let themselves study them. They're like, no, you can't do that because the last person who did that 300 years ago died. Somewhere along the way, they lost their nerve, they lost their matzi, their backbone, and so they inadvertently created another air of mystery around these things. And I think that's actually a really great storytelling device because you create this very powerful organization of women. And say what you will about Aes Sedai, I've got my opinions about Aes Sedai, but they are still an incredibly powerful organization. But even they fear Terangreal and objects of the power because they don't understand them. And they fear them to the point where they don't want to understand them better. Or that the risk of understanding them better isn't is too high. So I love objects of the power, and if I had to pick another one that probably wasn't on this list, it would probably be the rings. I would like to see the three rings in the White Tower when the girls go through their accepted and novice and accepted tests to be raised to Aes Sedai. I think that would be really cool to see. I'm really excited to see what they do with that because I'm hoping they
Yes.
don't do like a Superman into the Phantom Zone effect with it. But it'd be kind of cool if they did a little callback to that movie. That would be great.
Yes. No, that would
What about
be
you?
that
What
would
about
be
you? Is
fun.
there another object of the power that we didn't maybe get to that
So
needs to
I
be
know that it's
mentioned?
a little bit it is not nearly as large scale. Um and I know that when it comes right down to it, I'm going to be a little bit more excited to see a bunch of the like large scale ones when they're
Yes.
actually on screen. But the one that I will always have this very soft spot in my heart for is gonna be Rand's little fat man holding a sword.
Oh, the little Buddha.
It's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna
I
be
want
great.
to see that. When that shows up on screen for the first time, my roommates are all gonna be so weirded out when I'm like, "Oh, oh, 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 oh."
And he gets that in
Oh, he gets it
Ruidian.
super
Or no, he
early.
gets that in
No, he gets it
Nate.
before
He
Ruidian.
gets that in Ilion. There it is. Y'all, this is why you need to join the Discord. This is why you need to join the Discord because the most fire meme was just dropped. The one
It
that
really
we
was.
mentioned earlier in the series. And that's why it's the most fire because we mentioned it. Boom. Done.
Sure.
On to the next. Oh, I'm sorry. The Fat Man Angreal.
Oh, I'm so
I'm
excited.
I'm wondering if they're gonna because the books never really draw a difference between Angreal and Sangreal except for
Power.
Sangreal are more powerful than Angreal. And they never really do more than that. And I'm kind of excited to see what lore is added to the Wheel of Time canon. I'm really excited about that possibility.
Yes. No, I don't know if there actually will be anything because to be completely honest, I mean other than Kalendor and its
Mm-hmm.
flaw, we don't
Uh-huh.
really
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
hear anything about any difference in the books
Oh
between
yeah.
Sangreal and Angreal other than power.
Yep. It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering. So that'll be great. And that is an accurate representation of Daniel's face. For those of you who missed it earlier, join our Discord, listen to us
please.
live, contribute to our
It's so
Patreon
much
so that
fun.
after the plague is over, you can join in all the time. It'll be great. You'll love it. We'll love it. We'll love having you. You'll laugh. People will look at you funny because you're laughing at nothing. And you'll be like, what? Psh. And it'll be great. So, moving on to the next poll. And I'm not going to lie, y'all are going to call me out right now. And I'm going to call myself out before you can call me out because I know it's derivative. I don't care. Which throne do you want to see in the Wheel of Time TV series? Now, again, the there are two reasons that I loaded this particular poll on there. Okay. One is because of Game of Thrones. That was centered around one throne. A one throne made out of 1,000 swords or whatever the hell it was. Fine. But it's a big tie in. The second reason, and this is actually the bigger reason, is because every single time they go to a new kingdom, it mentions the rose throne or the lion throne or the sun throne or the wind throne or the crystal throne. They're always describing a throne. I think the only time they don't describe thrones is a couple of the nations in the Borderlands. So again, there were a lot of thrones to pick from. There were. And I chose four that I thought were most central to the story. Um, yeah. So that was kind of my thought process behind those.
No, to be fair, I actually liked this poll. Again,
It was a
I
good
know
one,
that
right?
I thought it was good.
I think it's one
Um,
that people don't really think about all that much. But it is actually
yeah,
Robert Jordan takes care to mention the throne of every kingdom that they travel to.
yep.
And by the way, he started writing it before Song of Fire and Ice, so
Song of
when
Ice and
I'm
Fire.
saying this right now before the TV series comes out, okay, this is my hipster moment.
Hey,
When everybody's like,
Josh,
and they just
we've
have
heard
the
this
thrones
before.
because of Game of Thrones. Well, no, we were here first. Okay? We were here first.
But you know what was before all of this?
Lord of the Rings.
I was gonna say King Arthur, who has a number of books
Oh,
and
that's right.
movies and things about him. So
Oh, that would have been a good one. Sorry, Discord chat just mentioned the Chief's chair in the Aiel lands. Why didn't I think of that? Probably
well,
because
I mean,
the Chief's
it's
chair would have been
never
just like a
actually
regular chair
yeah, and
because they
again,
don't
they're not
sit in
actually really
chairs.
described very well. Each hold has its own chief's chair.
True.
So
True. It would have been cool.
that's
I
the
think
true
it.
true.
I think it would have been cool because, like, they talk about the shape of arrows and the cut of cloth, being able to tell different septs and clans from each other. I'll bet the chairs would match that, and I wonder if they're gonna go that in depth, in detail at the TV series. I really hope they do, but I at the same time I understand if they don't, because such subtle things like that are one of
It's
the
what
reasons
makes
that
a
made the
really
Lord of the
awesome show.
Rings
Yeah.
movie trilogy fantastic was because they did that. They went that deep into the detail. I remember watching a documentary on the
I'm going to say
making
it
of it.
right now. Greatest adaptation from book to movie ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even with
Hands down.
missing storylines and story pieces and like moving of Tom Bombadil, everybody hated that. I hated
Who
it. I was
who hated
sad.
that?
I
Why?
hated it because Tom Bombadil was awesome. And they removed
Well, sure.
and they removed Bjorn in The Hobbit, and they didn't do the Shire battle.
Hey,
And
hey, 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 hey. First and foremost, I I get I I think they actually did a really good job with what they cut out and what they left in. Now, granted, I was absolutely with everyone when they took out the Shire battle. The battle for the Shire was really cool, and it was the culmination of Mary and um, Pippin's arc. That being said, I still think that they actually took out exactly what they should have taken out and
I
left in exactly what they should have left in.
I
Especially because
very
even once you get to the extended editions, you're now talking about more than 12 hours of movie. So,
I very 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 disgruntly agree with you. I hate that I agree with you on this, but I do. I agree with you
also, it
tremendously.
is true that while The Hobbit is pretty terrible, um, Tom Bombadil is pretty great. And so we did get him eventually. It just had to be so sad that it had to be in a bad movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I agree. They were still just the most amazing movies adapted from books. I
Yes.
have to agree with you. They did such a great job. And where I was going with that is one of the things that they said. I was watching one of the makings of it, and the guy was like, "No, every glass, every cup, every mug, every chair, every table, everything we did was custom made for this movie because he didn't
Yep.
want a single person in the world to be like, huh, I have that, I have that set of cups at home." Like he didn't want
Yes.
anybody in the world to be able to say that. And
Yep.
it added a level of story and fantasy that I think
Yes.
is just fantastic. To put that much detail and that much love and that much passion into the story makes it 100%.
However, I will throw out there that probably someone about, let's say, like 1,000 years ago, probably could watch The Lord of the Rings and be like, I had that cup.
Yeah, exactly. and
Because
and,
let's
and
be
that's
honest, I mean, some of them are fairly nondescript.
exactly. And and that's again, that's how it goes. So that's it. Whatever. It's the way it is. This is the way.
This is the way.
And I
But
swear to God, the first time I see a Starbucks cup in the Wheel of Time TV series, I'm out. It's not going to happen though, because by that time in Game of Thrones, like the whole production crew had pretty much given up.
yeah.
And
I mean,
so,
to be
yeah.
fair, again, I will forgive them for things though, because in The Lord of the Rings, there's a scene where Ian McKellen is wearing a watch, and it's
What?
unfortunate. Did you not know that?
I did not know this.
Whoa! All
Are
right,
you
in the
killing?
Battle of,
Right. What's the
I
scene?
believe
I
in
need
the
to know
Battle of
now.
It's Deep, when he comes back and he is fighting the
I
orcs.
am Gandalf the White.
Yes,
Well, he
and
had
he
a
comes
well,
down
he
and
had to
he's
he had all that new XP. He had all that new equipment. Of course he has a watch. Come on.
there is a scene where he actually is wearing a watch. Um,
Well, that's because
and
like I just said, he just killed the boss. to get all that sweet XP. He was able to stop in, all the drops that he got from the boss, all the extra gold. He was able to stop into the store and pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's also he had to. I mean, honestly, when you get so much shit,
it's true.
From Frodo, and he's like, "Yeah, you're late." There's only so many times that you can say the line about
like,
being a
fine.
wizard before
Better
you're
be on
like, "All
time."
right, fine, it's time to
And
get a watch." Fuck
and
it.
if we noticed, he was pretty on time for that whole raising of Helm's Deep.
Oh, he absolutely
He came
was.
right there at the nick of time. Okay, so
On the third day,
on the
look
third
to
day.
the east.
Oh yeah, you go Gandalf, you badass.
Dude,
You
Gandalf's the
badass
best.
of all badasses. I kind of feel bad that Moraine kicked his ass in the winteriscoming.net power fantasy hero
Dude, the only thing that made
tournament.
me sad was, I mean, like, again, Moraine winning the whole thing was
That was
fantastic.
pretty
It
awesome.
was. It was pretty great. But my boy,
how did he lose to Jon Snow?
I mean, the
still
reason he
salty
lost to
about
Jon
that.
Snow was because they were choosing a bunch of I in the Winter is Coming poll, they chose a bunch of things that already have film or television
yeah.
adaptations.
And Moraine was 15th seed, and Jon Snow had the home court advantage. And everybody's like, who's this whiny little... Randall Thor from the first couple of books equals Luke Skywalker from episode 4. Okay, I get it.
But Uncle Owen,
Yeah.
I was gonna go get power converters.
Power converters. I get it. I get it. I do. I really do. I understand it. But
let's be honest, Jon Snow, while being actually a relatively good character, is a shit character. I know that you can't. It's hard to go ahead and square those two things, but give me a second. Like, he's incredibly important, and he's a badass when it comes to his like fighting with swords, and he is absolutely right when it comes to like, oh hey, well, we gotta fight the White Walkers and the blah blah blah. But he's a whiny little bitch. Even like, if you just take out Kit Harington playing him, it's not even like Kit Harington is the problem. If you read the books, John is a whiny little bitch.
Black Tower ASMR.
Stop it. I can only get so erect.
This moment brought to you by Sailor Jerry Rum and Coke Zero. It's good.
That's what I have too.
Because we're Black Tower. We drink together, bro.
To be fair, when we create the Black Tower, and by like create the Black Tower, I mean the actual physical place, and we live there.
It's gonna be so great.
Then we will just have an entire stockpile of Coke Zero for those who like it, Coca-Cola regular for those people who like it, and Dr. Pepper for those who like it. That's fine. We can have differences in opinion as far as that is concerned, but it will be Sailor Jerry. Unless we're broke, in which case it will be Kirkland rum.
Or I got one even worse than Kirkland. Ready? Patriot's Choice. It is the plastic bottle generic rum that they sell on base, and is it
cheaper than Kirkland?
Oh yes, it is, and it's terrible.
Is it?
It's like $11.
I actually like the Kirkland rum. It's not like, again, it's not my favorite. My favorite rum that I've
Any
ever
port
had
in a storm, right?
Is right, exactly. Is Sailor Jerry.
Gets the job done. Oh shit. Yeah, I live in Utah, so the only place you can get liquor is at the liquor store. You can't go to the grocery store and get liquor. I used to live in Monterey, California, which was lovely, and I want to move back. But that was great.
Relatively near Monterey.
See,
I was up in San Jose.
See?
And we used to go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium regularly.
Dude, I was like 5 minutes away from that. I lived up on
the Monterey Bay Aquarium
it was actually Seaside is where I lived.
Okay.
So back to the poll, which we had a good segue when we were talking about Jon Snow and Game of Thrones, but then we kind of went away from it with my ASMR moment. But I don't regret it, not for one moment, because the taint is great. # embrace the taint. Okay, So I got 4 thrones that I had chose for the poll. It was the Dragon Throne, which is, as we know, was the throne of the Dragon Reborn, which they always describe as being like ridiculously gaudy and overly gilded and really ugly and an abomination. I think someone once says, um, yeah, and it just is not described in the best light. But I really hope this thing is badass. I really hope that, because Robert Jordan is a really great at subtext, where he writes from someone's perspective. So someone says, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of," but what he's saying in a kind of a deeper sense is that they're very, very jealous of it, so that they hate it, and they say they hate it, and he does this constantly throughout the book series, and I love the subtlety of his narrative in that sort of way. So I'm hoping that when they do the TV show, they show that a little bit more openly, because I feel like a lot of people that read the book series and just don't get it, they don't get that subtext. They don't get that Robert Jordan is saying, this is Perrin who hates, whatever, and that's why he's saying that. But in secret, he's really actually kind of thinking it's cool, but he doesn't want to admit that right now.
Well, and on the flip side, then you have somebody like Wyramon who would walk in and be like, "Oh my god, I love your skirt." And then the person would
Right?
be like, "Thanks," and walk away. And then he'd look at his High Lord friends and he'd be like, "That's the ugliest fucking skirt I own."
Right? Going through my laundry. That cheap knockoff. That's not Louis Vuitton. That's Louis Vuitton. No,
Oh
for
my
real.
god, Wyramon is Regina George.
Yes! Oh my god! This is immediate.
And the High Lords are the plastics.
Yes! This is good. So the Dragon Throne, especially gaudy, especially gilded, and amazing, with dragons spiraling up the sides of the chair. I am super stoked to see the Dragon Throne. I really am.
It's gonna be dope.
The Sun Throne is next in Carrion, and that's going to be a good one. This one actually spawned a lot of conversation, so I'm looking forward to talking a little bit deeper on this one. The Lion Throne of Andor, which is I think it's the first throne we see in the series, and it's
Correct.
the one that is most central to. Well, it is the one that is
a lot of plot.
Yeah, it's got a lot of story time. It's there. It's a lot. So, that's a pretty big one. And then the Crystal Throne, which the Crystal Throne doesn't have a lot of story time. It doesn't have a lot of face time. I think there's like a flashback scene, and I think it's mentioned in a vision at some point in time. But I just always thought it was cool, like the Crystal Throne. Is it actually made out of crystal? Is it covered
No,
in
it's
crystal?
actually so funny thing is the Crystal Throne isn't actually a physical object. It's actually there's this family of people and they are specifically bred for their attractiveness. And somewhat similar to Grandal, the Empress of Shanshan actually just has this family. It takes all of their daughters who they just name Crystal and has them form a throne that she then sits on.
I love it. You know what? I should have. You say that, and now I regret not putting Grandal's throne on this poll. So Crystal Throne, I thought that was like a fun. That was the wild card, right? Because that's, like I said, it doesn't have a lot of story time. It's not really a big central theme. They have like the Karathon cycle from Shanchan that says, that the Dragon Reborn will kneel before the Crystal Throne, and there's plot later on in the series that talks about the dragon kneeling before the Crystal Throne, blah blah blah. So again, it was the wild card. There wasn't a lot. There wasn't much there other than I want to see it. I just thought it would be cool to see the Shanchan court, that kind of a thing. So I would. We'll go with having said that, the Crystal Throne actually got third or second place rather. Now my brains are getting messed up. But the Crystal Throne actually got second place, um, behind the Lion Throne, which is surprising to me. I would have thought the Dragon Throne would have performed a little bit better. The Lion Throne was big in the story because you have, first off, Morghese ruling over the Lion Throne. The Lion Throne of Andor. Onward, the White Lion of Andor. And, of course, through a series of events, Morghese leaves.
And also onward the white boar.
The white boar. And then Elaine comes back, and there's like three or four books
of her just securing that
succession
throne
to the throne. I think it's like,
also, by the way, Succession, great show. If you have HBO, watch it.
all right, hashtag Succession. I
Hashtag
think she
Succession.
actually doesn't even get the crown until like book 11. I think that's when she's finally crowned.
Oh, it's pretty far.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's far.
It's very
I'm in
far.
book 9 in my reread, and she is. It was halfway through book 8 where she actually made it back to Camelin. No, I want. Yeah, it was like halfway through book 8 where she finally made it back to Camelin, and now she's really starting her campaign. And it's
Yeah.
just kind of like, okay. There's the succession arc it's a necessary arc, but it's not the most thrilling arc. So I can understand why people would want to see the Lion Throne, because the Lion Throne is very iconic. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of story revolved around the Lion Throne.
Yes. No, it's incredibly iconic.
So, and then, which leads us to third. I know we kind of went out of order because we kind of went off on a tangent of the Crystal Throne. The Crystal Throne was second place. The Lion Throne was first place. The Dragon Throne was third place. Now, again, not a lot to say about the Dragon Throne.
It's just cool.
It's just a big badass throne made of dragons and jewels.
Well, and I fucking love that one of, like, again, this is when the Dragon Throne gets made is smack dab in the middle of where Rand is going from old Rand to new Rand. And so on one hand, like, somebody else makes the Dragon Throne. And when it gets like brought out to Rand, like, on one hand he's like, no, I don't want it. I don't want to even really be the Dragon Reborn. I'm just a farmer from the Two Rivers. It's so big and gaudy and obnoxious. I don't even really want to use it. But then on the other hand, he's like, yes, you are the Dragon Reborn. Make everyone see. Take them in your hand and crush nations. Sit on this throne forever and show them your power. And you're like,
exactly.
What the fuck?
Well, and he's kind of doing this like he's got a pretty good understanding of Dias Damar at this point in time. I say pretty good.
Thanks to
Moraine, and thanks to
Elaine.
Tom.
Elaine. No, thanks to Elaine. That is how he knows Dias Damar.
But
Moraine didn't actually teach him Dias Damar at all. And Tom just plays it so well that he's like, Rand, do me a favor. You don't need to know how to play Dias Damar. I will play Dias Damar. You just sit there. And Rand's like, okay, you go do that, Tom. Thanks for sitting in the servants' quarters and playing Dias Damar so well that everybody listens to me.
Yeah, no, Rand has, basically what I'm trying to say is Rand has like a half understanding of Dias Damar. So he's doing what he thinks is the best, and he's
Rand throwing the letters in the fire.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but exactly. I know that I'm doing it really well.
But I'm doing it really well. And at that point in time, he's got Huron to be like, don't do that. No, that'll be bad. Like, Huron's like not really great at it, but he's like good enough to know that would be a mistake to burn them both. Just don't fucking do it.
Well, but he did so many, and Huron was just like, okay, okay,
ballsy,
that's
and they
fine.
seem to be falling for it. You're lucky.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Rand, do not burn those letters. There are two
So
letters in this entire city that you don't want to burn, and you've already burned both of them.
there is one aspect of the Dragon Throne that I think is a little bit enticing. Okay, and that's that they made the Dragon
Which
Throne
is
with
Rand sitting on it.
yeah,
Bow chicka bow wow.
give me Rand on that throne, baby. No, they made the throne having absolutely no idea how to pay tribute to the Dragon Reborn, other than the Dragon Banner. They were like, okay, there's
Yeah.
the flag with this big
Let's
red and
just
gold
make Chinese
snaky thing.
dragons.
Let's put that thing on there. Like that seems to be his crest or his banner. So let's make a throne out of that. It looks kind of crazy. And then the Carrion, I think it was Carrion made, and they were like, yeah, let's do this. Let's make a throne for this guy. He's a badass. He's
No, it's
cool.
Camelin.
Was it Camelin made?
Yeah.
I know it was in Camelin, but I thought there were Carrion who made it. I don't know. Anyway,
Okay, that's sorry. It was made in Camelin, I should say.
in
I don't remember who exactly
yeah. Well,
made it.
I don't think we ever find out who made it. I think it just kind of
Correct. Yeah.
shows up one day and he's like, "Oh, so this is a thing."
Well, it's
And
like basically it's like when a husband gets a wife a Pandora charm bracelet and it has that first charm on it. And the guy's standing in the Pandora like place and he's like, "Oh
okay,
fuck, what charm do I get
I,
my wife?"
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
She's a teacher. So you know what I should do? I should just get her the charm bracelet and then a book. A
And
book
then, but the
charm.
charm bracelet has to have a diamond in it because girls,
And then
because bitches love diamonds. I got that bitch a diamond.
diamonds are forever.
Yeah, and then yeah, no. So
Diamonds
they made it as
take
like
her
ornate.
breath away. Diamonds knock her speechless. Why don't they say
Or
what they're really trying to say?
if
Diamonds. That'll shut her up.
if you live in Utah, then you'll understand this one.
No.
Hi, I'm Tong Sheng from the Sheng Diamond Company, where you have a friend in the diamond business. That's a big thing. That's like a Shane Co. is a huge thing in Utah. And you have a
Okay.
friend in the diamond business. That's their big tagline. And he's got
You
the
got a
most
friend in
iconic
the diamond
voice.
business.
Exactly.
You got the friend in the
So I
diamond
love
business.
how they like went way overkill on the Dragon Throne because
Oh yeah.
as ham-fisted and as sledgehammery, Rand with the grace of a sledgehammer, they kind of was like, okay, we're feeling this out. Let's do this. Let's do this. And it was just like, yeah, they just kind of went overkill trying to make the most amazing throne they could to try and please the Lord Dragon. And I think that's why it's got to be a really interesting construction because it's got to be both gaudy and terrible, but fucking amazing at the same time.
Right.
Forking amazing, sorry.
Forking amazing.
And now the final item in our poll, the Sun Throne. Now this one drew a lot of comment on here because the Sun Throne is the throne of Carrion. And I'm actually a little surprised that it got fourth place because it spawned a conversation about Layman and Layman's sin.
Layman.
Layman. Now, he cut down the Chora tree, a cutting
Avendasoraldera.
who was given to him by the Aiel because
Not
they
him.
recognized.
Not him.
Well, it was not given to him. It was given to
But
Carrion
carrying. Yes.
as a gift for recognizing that Carrion, the Aiel would not exist without Carrion's blessing and allowing them to travel through.
Yes.
And so they in meeting of their toe, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, they were like, "You guys have much honor. We have toe. We would not be alive without you. We give you the most precious of gifts, the most valuable and precious thing that we can ever find, and that is a cutting
A chora tree.
of the Chora tree, the Avendel de Sora."
Yes, a cutting specifically of Avendasora actually.
which is the tree in Ruidian. So you get a sense of the uh, the the reverence and sheer power this gift has. Like the Aiel were like, they did not give this lightly.
Nope.
Now, it lived in Carrion for years. Um, and then
Many,
Layman
many years.
comes along and is like, you know what? I need a new throne. This tree right here is a fucking amazing throne. And when I sit under this tree, I feel peace. And I want to feel peace when I reside over my peoples. So y'all bitches need to cut this tree down and give me a throne out of this tree. And I have to believe that a lot of people saw this as a bad move. Like, I can't imagine.
A lot of people have since seen this as a bad move.
This was a bad move. In the beginning, God created the universe, and a lot of people thought this was a bad move.
And has
But
created a lot of despair through the years.
I have to agree, though. I have to think that there were a lot of people who were like, yo, King, like, for real, dog? Like, that's a one-of-a-kind tree. We can't just cut that down. And Liam was like, no, I'm the fucking king. I need the best. And if I'm going to sit on some wood, I want it to be some damn Chora wood. And so they were like,
but the problem is, that Lammen was absolutely the Donald Trump of Kyrie,
this
of the Wheel
throne
of
is
Time.
going to be the greatest throne you've ever seen. It's going to be huge.
Yeah,
A lot of
nobody
people,
said
a lot of
anything
smart
bad
people.
about about Lammen's decision, because he had fired or murdered all of the smart people who were going to tell him that was not a good idea. Everybody around him, when he was like,
Dude.
I'm going to cut down this tree
All
and create
politics
the
aside,
greatest throne ever in the
all
history of
politics aside,
thrones.
I think that's probably one of the greatest parallels that have ever
Right?
been drawn.
Because Lammen was absolutely like, do you think it's a good idea to cut down this throne,
I'm
or
the
to cut down
king.
this tree and make a throne out of it? And somebody was like, I think that's a bad. And he was like, off with his head.
You're
And so
fired.
everybody else around there was
You're not.
absolutely standing there being like, yeah, no, the Lammen,
No,
that's a
it's
great
totally cool.
idea. That's
You just killed
totally
that guy?
smart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
totally
totally
agree with
smart.
you. Good job, King
See, I
Layman.
have the greatest advisors, the smartest advisors, the most.
So
I've drained the swamp.
We're the greatest
He
country
was the swamp.
ever.
I've drained the swamp.
We're the greatest
We're going to
kingdom
make a
ever,
throne,
and I
and the
want.
Aiel are going to pay for it.
I.
Oh God! I broke Josh, guys. It is my goal every episode, and I have not hit that goal in a while. But I have broken Josh.
I can't.
But yes, part of the discussion that happened after the Kyrian and
Okay.
the Sun Throne was mentioned, is that it is a little bit of a question, because I don't believe that it is ever truly mentioned in the books whether the Sun Throne is actually the throne that was created
And
by Lammen,
yes,
out of the Chora tree. And on one hand, it absolutely makes sense that, given the time between when it is said that Lammen is supposed to have cut down the tree and when the Aiel get to Kyrian in the Aiel War,
right.
That's plenty of time to make a throne. So it absolutely could be. On the other hand, it
and he had a
absolutely
throne
does
before
make
that
sense.
as well. Like, it's not
True.
like they didn't have a throne, and he was like, you know what? I'm tired of not having a throne. I mean, they had a throne before that. And someone even brought up the good
We're sure
point of,
we have a throne,
but it was Obama's throne, and so I
No.
don't like it.
Okay, stop. Stop. I'm gonna die. You're gonna kill me. the
It has Obama's name on
the
it. It's getting destroyed.
he carved his name. He carved his initials on the back. It's not good. No, the
My
point, there was
throne
even a good point that was made that they don't even know
is
if
a regular throne.
it's a good throne.
It has a sauna on it, and Sasha and Malia both
They both sat upon it and they
enjoy the
both
throne.
think it's good. The
Michelle is a little on the fence as far as the throne.
they do, someone actually brought up the good point, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, but someone actually brought up the good point that there's not even any confirmation that Layman ever finished the tree, the throne. Like,
Sure.
I can imagine that it would take time for word to reach the Aiel that
and
the tree
then
was
for
cut down,
time for them to get
and
there,
then time for them to
and
get
then
pissed off and
time for
rally and come
them to
back.
make it to Kyrian.
Because that's one of the things we see with when Rand visits the Aiel Waste. He's upset, man. He's like, God, how long does it take you guys to assemble? And he's like, and Rourke is like, dude, we're spread across the entire continent. Like, come on. Like, it takes time. It's like a couple months at best. And Rand is like pissed off. He's like, I can't wait. Especially not with the Shido going back. We all got to go right now. Let's go. And so, it takes time for word to travel. And I think they said that the might of 4 clans came against Carrion.
Yes.
And the throne was cut down, or the tree was cut down, and we don't know how long specifically from the cutting to the building of the throne. I imagine that building a throne out of a tree like that would take time. They would want to have master craftsmen doing it, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, it would take a couple weeks. I have to believe that they would be able to craft a throne out of that wood before the Aiel arrived. So
Yes.
I'm going
That is my
to
thought.
say, in my heart, in my opinion, I think the throne was completed. Now, is the throne still in use? Regardless of whether or not it was completed, is the throne still in use? Whew, that's a big question. And I don't
and of
know
course,
that they
it's a
ever
question
say.
as to whether the Aiel would have destroyed such a throne. Because on one hand, again, now you have the question of this was once the Chora tree. Do we burn this? Do we take this? Do we chop it up into pieces? Is it disrespectful to destroy something even if it's made out of Chora? On the other hand, this absolutely can't really exist because Lamon's a dick.
Exactly. So I
It's now a
almost
question
wonder.
of what they would have done with it if they actually took the throne itself, or
Exactly.
whether it was good enough to just come to Kyrian, take Lamon,
It's true.
destroy him.
And they did. And that's
And then
exactly
leave.
what they did. And as
Yes.
soon as they killed Layman, he was gone. They were gone. They were like, okay, we did what we came here to do. We took his sword, and they only talk about taking his sword as a trophy. They do not say they took anything else apart from the 5th.
Yes.
And
They took the 5th, they took Lamon's sword, but they do not mention specifically taking the throne.
so I call to all of our listeners. I call to all of you to study and come back, because I'm like I said, I'm in book 9 in my reread right now, and I haven't heard anything about the Sun Throne other than the Sun Throne exists, and it's the Sun Throne of Carrion. And I want to know. And unfortunately, we don't have our Robert Jordan with us. I think if we don't find a definitive answer, maybe this is one of the things we could reach out to Brandon Sanderson about.
Yes. Well, since Brandon, since you are listening right now, please let us know.
But you know
Harriet,
what?
if you want to go ahead and step in here as well, since I know that you are also a
Yes.
longtime listener,
Brandon's
please
a
let
closet
us
listener,
know.
though. We weren't supposed to out him. He's going to be upset.
What?
Yeah, we weren't supposed to let
No,
him
he
know that he listens.
sent me a message the other day. He was like,
He
"You can tell
did?
people."
He
Yeah,
you and Brandon, you and BS are like, "What's up, dog?"
yeah. No, he DM'd me.
I'm about to say it again. I've said it before. I'm about to say it again. I played Magic with Brandon Sanderson once. He kicked my ass. It was great. I've got the autograph.
I would love to play Magic with Brandon
It was
Sanderson. Hey,
actually
Brandon.
really cool. So the
Hey,
fun
Brandon.
thing
Can
was,
we play Magic
it was fun
together?
because he was it was a Magic release party, and there was like a midnight release party, and the store that was doing it was like, "Hey, Brandon Sanderson." And I apologize, there was another author that was there. I do not know who it was. Haven't read any of his
It
books.
was R.S. Salvatore.
It was not. I would have known. I would have known. But we showed up, and I don't even think a memory. Whoa. I don't know. I think that Towers of Midnight was the one that just had come out, and so it was the Magic release party for the newest edition of Magic, and he had just published The Way of Kings, and so I had shown up with a copy of The Way of Kings and a copy of, I want to say, Towers of Midnight. And I will check, and I will post it on Twitter. So tune in on our Twitter later on at Tower Podcast if you're not already there. And I will check, and I will post a picture of the autograph. But he says to Josh, "May you always find water and shade, Brandon." And it was fantastic. It was amazing. And then later on in the evening, they released the Magic cards, and we were like, "Oh, we got the new set," and we created a deck. And God, he mopped the floor with us, man. He's good. He is
I believe it.
good. We played a full tournament, and I got my ass handed to me.
I want to know which other members, like if Rafe Judkins or like Sarah Nakamura or maybe like Josha or Marcus or even one of the
Oh God.
um the people that we haven't been released yet. I wonder if they play Magic, because then when I'm Moradin, then we can just play on set and that would be fun.
That would be fantastic. I am still holding
Rafe
out
feels like a
for.
Magic player.
I'll bet Rafe has played some Magic. I'll bet Rafe still has Magic decks in a cupboard, in a shelf somewhere in his house.
I truly believe that he's been playing since Alpha.
I'd be willing to go there.
But anyway, this episode has gone on for so long already. I think
It's
it
good.
is
It was a
actually
good
time
episode.
for us to go ahead and say good night. But before we do that, thank you very, very much to all of you who tuned in listening live. Iris, Jack, and Smack were all here the whole time, and we appreciate all three of you so much. And to anyone who didn't get a chance to listen live because of time or day or anything like that, we will try and include you on later episodes. You are always welcome. The live episodes will be up presumably until April 30th is sort of the tentative end for the quarantine. We will obviously continue to be updated throughout the month of April, but that was the last I heard. And then after that, you will need to be on our Patreon to listen to the episodes live. Also, as part of our Patreon, you do get a pre-recording. This week, it's pretty fun. So definitely go and check that out if you have not and you are interested. If you would like to get in contact with us, what would be the best ways to do that, Josh?
Oh man, we've got ways that you don't even know. We've got the ways. So the ways, if you find a waygate, one of those waygates will be on Twitter at Tower Podcast. That's us. The other ones that you will find, another waygate to reach us at is going to be was it Black Tower Pod at gmail.com. We
That
are
is
also on
correct.
Instagram. Mr. Daniel here is our Instagram master. He is the
Yes.
Black Tower Podcast Master of Disaster, and it's what is our Instagram? Is that Black Tower? It's Black Tower Pod. Basically,
Correct.
it's Black Tower Pod. If we're on there, it's Black Tower Pod. That's what we do. So Podbean is another one. Black
Except
Tower
for
Pod.
Twitter.
We're also on
Because
YouTube.
then it's Twitter Pod.
It's Twitter. Yeah, Tower Pod. Tower, whatever. What did I say?
Tower Podcast.
At Tower Podcast. So join in, tune in.
Power
you guys are awesome.
Toddcast.
If you want to reach us, that's where you do it. Or you can reach us directly. Just send me a text. Okay? Text me, bro.
Don't do that. That'd be weird.
But don't send me any unsolicited pics of your genitalia. Because I'm not down with that.
I mean, you can send me pics of your genitalia. I don't care. The amount that I actually check my messages is...
Be sure
I will
to
not
tune
spend
in.
very much time with it.
We're going to be doing some more polls. We're going to be doing some more fun stuff. We're always here to have fun. Join in our Discord. We like to talk about things all the time. Some of them not even Wheel of Time related. Gasp, I know. But we love it. We love you
Just
guys.
FYI, we do have specific channels for those.
It's true.
So if you just want to be on the Wheel of Time sections, that's fine.
It's okay. We won't judge you for not being there. It's okay. But thank you. We love you for listening. We love you for having you here. And I personally enjoy your presence.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I appreciate it. So have a good night. Thank you so much for listening. And I'm going to finish up this rum and coke while Daniel takes us out of here.
Indeed. For all of us here at the Black Tower, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time and your energy, especially those people who were here live, but also anyone who ever downloads or listens to the podcast. You are the lifeblood of our podcast. You're amazing. Cannot say it enough. But have a lovely rest of your week. We will absolutely see you next week for another rousing episode of the Black Tower Podcast. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.